Hey guys, welcome to the Next Level Mamas podcast. I'm here to encourage and empower you to create a life that you love as you head toward your own next level. Now, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Next Level Mamas podcast. I'm so excited today. We are actually 8% of our year. It's complete. I just calculated that out with easy math. 1 divided by 12, it's 8%. Now, I feel like I am really on track, but that's not what we're talking about today. Instead, I am coming at you. I am making a huge promise. And I know you're saying, what's that? What's that, you ask? I am making a promise that I am officially not a unicorn. There, I said it, I'm not a unicorn. Now, I've done some crazy things, though, in my life that might make it look like I might be some sort of a unicorn. I have lost all my weight and kept it off for almost 5 years. I've become fitter than I was in high school, or really any age of my life at age 50. That's where I am now. Now, I rolled into age 50 with my list of goals so long that I did not believe that it would be possible at first. Now, my top goals that I was most proud of were, number one, probably hiking the Grand Canyon rim to rim in one day. I did that last June of 2022, right before I turned 50 in July. Now, I also ran 500 miles between January and my birthday on July 11th. I tried aerial classes 5 times, as well as Pilates. If you don't know what those things are, they are fun and they are challenging, and you should go try them. I also learned 50 new piano songs. I memorized or brought back to my memory 4 books of the Bible that I'd memorized before. I read or listened to 50 books in that time frame also between January and July. There was a list of 50 things that I went for. And if you know me, you're tired of hearing about them. So I will not go into detail about all of them because I could talk about that all day long. But the point today is I get asked all the time how I did all those things. And that is where people tend to put me in the unicorn category. Like, you can do that because of XYZ. I like to say that I'm the living proof that you're searching for. I am a human and I do amazing things. You're also a human. So that means, drumroll please, you can do amazing things too. I feel like I need to cue some music right here as a celebration. This should be great news. Now, this brought a question out of my brain. Why do some people believe that they can do great things while other people don't believe it's possible for them? I like to think of it like this. Have you ever sat around trying to do something on your phone, or maybe talking to someone about something you're doing, and the person, which for me, oftentimes it's my kids, they'll say, "Do you want an easy way to do that?" And I'm like, huh? I usually say yes, but I have a super dose of skepticism. And when I say I'm a skeptic, I mean for real. Now, on a side note, another story from The Crazy Life of Andrea is appropriate right here. Remember when DVDs were released, like they first came out on the market? If you're young, you don't remember. For the rest of us, you do. I actually said out loud, well, that will never work. They'll get scratched up so quickly. People need to stick to VHS. Yes, I am that person. Then I remember when texting began, I said, nobody wants to do that. It's too impersonal. People want to connect with other humans in a conversation with a real voice. So, needless to say, I am slow to catch on to new things and a bit stubborn. Skeptical, stubborn. I walk a fine line between those two things for sure. I annoy my family really bad with these things. Now, back to when my kids were saying, "Hey, Mom, you just do this," or "There's an app for that. It makes it really simple." I am always skeptical, but I try it and I am just like, oh my goodness, this is like magic. Every time I feel like it's just magic. That's what I'm talking about. It's like when someone says, yeah, you can do that, but it won't make a difference for me. It's like you have your iPhone straight out of the box with all the default settings. You haven't even opened the App Store to see what's in there. There are so many ways once you open up your mind. That right there is what a good coach can do for you, period. I can teach people how to do all the things they want to do. I can help open your mind and shine a light on your path. So here I am thinking, they just don't know what they don't know. But then I was also thinking, maybe I haven't told them. Now, I believe I can do absolutely anything I set my mind to do if it's something I really want to do. I didn't always think like that. I had so many limiting beliefs. I had my list of reasons why those things wouldn't work for me. And I think you have a list too. Now, then I thought, how can I most easily teach someone all that I've learned as I've transformed my entire life? Now, I will attempt to do that over the month of February on this podcast and through my emails. Now, be patient with me. Have you ever tried to teach something that you're really good at to someone who's never heard of it? It's like when I taught my third graders how to multiply. It is hard to break something down into terms where the third grader will understand. Now, you know that it starts with basics and it builds up. Maybe you have some visual math blocks, and then you have the actual work of memorizing the multiplication tables. It comes so simple to us now that we know it, but to the beginner, it seems absolutely impossible and makes zero sense. So here we go. Now, think foundations. Now, I was thinking about this, and I really think February is the perfect month to really focus on self love. I mean, there are already hearts everywhere all around us. Now, we may as well embark on this journey because I think that self love is the foundation that needs to be laid first. I have decided the difference between us, between you and me, is that I have this foundation so solid that I know I will show up for myself no matter what. In my past, not so much. I would say things like, I'm going to start that tomorrow. But deep down, my inner voice actually said, no, you won't. You never do. And you know what? It was right. My inner being didn't trust me, and with good reason. That's where we need to start. Self-love and self-trust. I believe it's like a muscle. It takes lots of repetitions to build it up. We'll call it our self-love muscle. Now, what are some things you do to foster self-love? Most people think they do things, but maybe it's not the best things. You can build your biceps. You can actually go get a 2-pound weight and curl it like 1,000 times every single day. But I would say that's the hard way. It seems easy, but it's actually harder. Would you rather lift a lighter weight 1,000 times or maybe a 10-pound weight for 10 repetitions? The 10-pound weight is way harder at first, but it gets the job done faster and more precisely. Now, we're trying to sculpt our whole body and not just our biceps. We don't have all year long. This is how I picture self-love. It doesn't have to feel like a cuddle in a warm blanket. That's what you need when you're under the weather, like with a sniffle. But for more forward momentum and progress, you need to shove yourself out the door and just do some things. Self-love may actually be, you can only lift that 10-pound weight 4 times. Your self-love response is, okay, next week I bet you can do 5 reps. It's not listening to the excuses of, well, if it's not 10 reps, then it just doesn't matter. Self-love has your back. It says, everyone starts somewhere, and apparently you start with 4 reps. Let's go. Before you know it, you'll have 10 reps. End of story. No more discussions of how it's not good enough. It becomes your starting point, and you are always good enough. Now, self-love also has to have a little sass. And I think I think you could hear it through my reenactment of the scene, and I'll try to make it sound real here. My inner voice is always doing its job. It's trying to keep me safe and a true level of just homeostasis where things just really stay the same. That's my inner voice's comfort zone. If you've heard me talk about her before, I have actually named her Alice, which is an acronym for Always Lying Inner Critic Extraordinaire. And she is quite good at her job. She criticizes everything with like a smoker voice. I've really detailed her in my mind. She's got a pointy nose, she's really skinny, and a very negative attitude, if you know what I mean. I appreciate what she's trying to do in keeping me safe. But I have to tell her to buckle in because here we go, girl. Now, remember the scene. I say I'm going to start lifting weights. I am going to lift this 10-pound weight 10 times. As soon as I say that, you can cue in Alice's voice, and she'll say, "You've lifted weights before. Remember, you were so sore you couldn't even lift your arms. That's not a good idea." Then I have to bring out sassy self. I hope you can appreciate the level of sass that you're going to need to develop. Remember, it's just sassy self-talking. It's nothing bad. She says something like this: "I hear what you're saying, but I am not giving up this time. I am lifting the 10-pound weight 10 times." Alice: You should start with the 2-pound weight, work your way up. You'll still get there. It just won't be as painful. We want to avoid pain, remember? That's what makes you quit. Sassy self: I've already decided I'm not quitting, so there's that. I'm also not afraid of discomfort. It's the pathway to growth. Then I'm going to lift that 10-pound weight, and it might be super heavy. I can only lift it 4 times. Alice: I told you to start with the 2-pound weight. It's gonna take forever to build up to the 10-pound weight. You should maybe even pick a different goal. This right here is where sassy self has to dig in her heels and say, that is enough. I know what I'm doing, and you may as well quit giving input on this one. I've got this. Now, I want you to notice how this conversation goes on for a bit, but in the end, I don't give in to Alice. I expect her to show up every time. I expect the input of talk of impending doom. I'm honestly never shocked. And I've learned the key is to continue to speak back to her. Bring out the sass. Like a rebellious teenager, never ever give in. Now, when I dig in my heels is when I start whipping out my sticker chart to track my progress. I ask myself things like, how can I make this easier to get to my goal? I am very patient with my timelines, and I continue to do the hard things despite all of Alice's recommendations. Now, where do we start? I've been thinking, and I have lots of ideas. Now, first, I want to give you something tangible to do this week. I want you to pick something to do, and it doesn't even have to be monumental. It can be physical or mental. An example would be picking a goal of walking a mile 3 days this week. It could be walking around your block 3 days this week. It doesn't have to be physically difficult even in the beginning. When I say it can be mental, I mean something like, I am going to read a chapter in my book 3 days this week. It could be memorizing a poem. It could be clearing your email inbox. Whatever you decide, write it on your planner or wherever you have your to-do list. Write it down and say, I will do this by next Friday when the next podcast comes out. Make a solid decision of what you'll do and do not waver. Then I want you to notice what happens inside your brain. Notice the excuses that come up. Listen out for, well, the weather is too cold to walk outside. I can do that next week when the weather's better. Walking isn't really a challenge anyhow. I didn't really have time to read, but 2 days, something came up. The kids, the work, the projects. Or what adult memorizes poems anyway? This is a stupid idea. My email box is just too much. I should have picked something else. I'll read all 3 chapters on the last day. It's the same thing. What I'm saying is that your brain, your own Alice, will try to bargain. She'll try to get you to waver in some way, and she'll actually make it sound acceptable to do it too. After you notice her little smoker's voice come up, begin talking back to her. Add your own flavor of sass or spice whenever you need it. Don't give her time to rant for more than 15 seconds. Turn her volume down. Turn your volume up. I can actually walk in the cold. I can read a chapter even if I have to stay up a little later one night to get it done. You know who memorizes poems? That would be me. Thank you very much. Lots of people clear their email inbox every day, and I am becoming one of them. Now, after you follow through on your one thing, I want you to go directly to your mirror and look yourself in the eye and say, you are amazing, because you just laid your first brick in your foundation. Now, here's the thing. Following through on what you say you're going to do is a skill. It's like building a muscle. You don't go to the gym and lift a weight one time. It is the repetitions that matter. You lift, repeat, lift, repeat. Go back another day and repeat. Day after day, week after week. Before you know it, you are sculpting the new you. Like I said, this is just the foundation. It sounds silly, and your Alice will try to talk you out of it because it sounds so silly. But I'm telling you, this is the key to your success. Begin to listen out for Alice. Expect her to be there. Then throw all your sass back at her. When she tells you this is a silly project, tell her, hey, I am worth it. Now, we will build off this foundation this next week. This is just the beginning. Also, if the thing you chose was way too easy, that's okay. Still celebrate that you did it. Make it like it's a huge thing. And then ask yourself, what would my next level be? And then go do that. For a super bonus challenge and a little fun, think about your own inner critic voice. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that narrates the entire world around you, critiquing everything along the way. Maybe you can come up with a fun name and a description. She or he is going to be there. The best way to win is to really know the one you're fighting against. Know them inside and out. Know their typical routine. Know their phrases. Know them. Acknowledge they are attempting to keep you safe. Appreciate that part, but then continue to your next level. Thanks for listening, guys. We are in the process of winning the level we are in and going to our own next level. Now, for the bonus material, go to my website for the PDF download, www.nextlevelmamas.com/podcast. Also, you can sign up for emails on my website while you're there. It goes along with the podcast. It's very helpful also. I send out a short email. It's not going to overcrowd your inbox. It's very short, quick read each week. Often elaborates what we're working on in my small group on Facebook and on the podcast also. I will see you all next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Next Level Mamas, where we are out to win the level we are in and move into our own next level. For more information on coaching with me, please visit nextlevelmamas.com/create your life. See you next week.